they say the house is your temple, and within the house is blessed by the master, and if you leave the house, then you should get permission.
Life in the Jingang Dhyana Buddhist group can be testing.
In this group, the master is a Buddha. It operates more like a cult than the traditional Buddhist school. And I was basically put into social isolation for more than a year in the house by myself. I should say solitary confinement almost.
Leader Wang Zhende, or Master Wang, is worshipped as a living Buddha.
People would say because he's a Buddha, it's almost the equivalent of Jesus Christ, so he will know everything about you or everyone else. He will know the future, the past, and everything.
Jingang Dhyana has been celebrated in its home base of Hobart for decades. Mr. Wang has been embraced by powerful people in Tasmania and his birthplace, China. The spiritual group has branches all over the world. Richard Su was raised by his grandmother and gurus in a Jingang Dhyana temple in New Zealand.
I technically never went to school. From memory, I probably went to kindergarten or some kind of preschool type of thing when I was 2 or 3. Never been to school since.
Richard says he had little contact with anyone outside his religious community for much of his youth.
Basically, everything you want to do, you just get the master's approval because there's literally nothing to do, and every day in the group, you're not allowed to question anything.
Correspondence shared with 730 shows Richard asking his leaders permission to do mundane tasks like going to the supermarket. He moved to Tasmania in his 20s and eventually into a home owned by Mr. Wang.
I was living on my own, and the master just said, as part of your training, you just eat bread, and that's all I had for quite a few months. They always say in ancient times the Buddhists live a pretty simple and kind of harsh life, and we just follow that.
Any group that has a leader that claims special powers and controls their followers to this extent is a major concern. Spiritually abusive groups, also known as cults, tend to control a person's behaviour, information, thoughts and environment. And Mr. Wang in Hobart appears to be doing all of these things.
Councillor Tora Clevier has experience supporting people who have lived in cults.
A person undergoes a total transformation of agency. Their sense of self is undermined, very much similar to a person in a domestic abuse environment. In fact, the similarities that we see between domestic abuse and cult-like environments is quite similar.
Jingang Dhyana and Mr. Wang did not respond to multiple requests for comment. In August, 730 brought you the story of Camille Kwan and her son, who we called Philip.
You're like a jail, right? Like a prisoner. Can I sue the prisoner?
Philip is a current member of Jingang Dhyana Buddhism, who greatly reduced contact with his mother after moving into a temple. Philip's adamant that's his decision, but Camille's not convinced.
But as long as we can keep someone isolated from information and control their thoughts and their environment, then we have a complete, total, devoted person.
Richard lived mostly alone in Mr. Wang's property without access to money, the internet or a car.
An elder guru will come on random days to check up. Well, one, make sure I'm still in the house and haven't left. And two, to sometimes do a grocery shop and pick up my handwritten report and give it to the master. Technically you can go, but it's more like the psychological pressure that you're not supposed to leave.
Richard decided it was time to experience life outside Jingang Dhyana.
I just left the house through a window. I guess when you're desperate, you just take risks. And I found out there's a public library just behind the bushes as well. So I use the computers every day.
The library allowed access to the internet and much needed social interaction. The building was close, but getting there didn't feel easy.
It's kind of terrifying, especially when you come back, you don't know whether someone will be at the door. So it kind of has to be pretty quick and almost like trying to do something dodgy.
Richard's final exit from his community was a long time in the making.
I was planning it for more than a year and just waiting for the opportunity, basically.
He emailed Tasmania Police from a library computer.
I am writing to ask for advice on seeking the appropriate assistance so that I can leave a religious organisation that has been abusing me since my early childhood. I am not allowed to leave the house or communicate with anyone from the outside. They have also confiscated or stolen all of my ID documents to ensure I cannot go anywhere or do anything. I just really want to start a new life and live like a normal person.
Police met Richard in the library within a week. But he didn't make a formal complaint, he just wanted help to leave. He next turned to a neighbour who helped him move to a nearby town.
You are in this same situation for like 25 years and now is in a totally different situation. And given that I've grown up with the Buddhist group all my life, basically I cut off everyone that I've ever known, and everyone now from now on as people that I haven't known before.
Richard arrived in New Norfolk, an hour from Hobart in Tasmania's southeast. It's where Tony Browning and his late wife Michelle spent most of their lives.
She used to go to the library and help kids out with their resumes, and so that's where she met Richard. And she said, my daughter said, I think she might be thinking about bringing him home. Come in. All right, what are you doing up here?
The Brownings' house became Richard's home for more than 3 years. Time enough for him to find a job and study.
Hey, that's Billy.
I'm closer than my actual biological parents. Haven't actually seen my dad since I was 5, and recently revisited my mum. But still, I would say I actually didn't grow up with my mum, and so they are closer than my actual family. Yep.
He's part of the family. He comes to all our functions and things like that, and Christmas parties, and we're his family now, which is great because he's never known anything like that.
Richard's now a keen photographer, capturing the sights he'd so long yearned to see. He's graduated from university, has travelled overseas, and has a full-time job in IT.
As most people know, Buddhism teaches kindness, patience, and being compassionate, and I feel like that is still instilled in me since a young age. The irony is that kind of helped me through being stuck in the Buddhist group as well. So there's one positive thing. But on the downside, I'll never get back 25 years of my life.